So in this video, we are going to shade a sphere and we're going to do a little bit of blending practice. I have a picture of this sphere right here, and we're going to use this one for our reference. The first thing we're going to do is we're just going to get a regular old pencil. It doesn't have to be anything special. And you're going to put blending practice at the top of your paper. And then you'll draw two parallel lines. Don't draw it too big, kind of the size of your thumb. So we're going to hold the pencil way back, so it has a real strong angle. And we're going to make little circles like this. Now, in order for things to be blended very smoothly, you need to overlap. And how to get a smooth blend is also not press too hard. So because we're not pressing very hard, see how I overlap over halfway? You can kind of see right here where my original stopped, but we'll work on that later. So I'm overlapping about halfway, but right now it looks about all the same value. That's okay. As I get closer and closer to the end, I'm using a lighter and lighter touch till almost at the end I have a real feather touch. So it does get lighter and lighter, but we want to go ahead and build up the value to a real shaded shadow. I'm going layering, layering, layering. Now I'm going to overlap, overlap, overlap. If you feel like your pencil's getting a little dull, you can kind of spin it around a little bit. Also, drawing like this helps keep your pencil very sharp, which is kind of nice. So here I am. I'm using a very light touch here because I don't want to put very much graphite down on the paper. There are different ways to smooth and blend. There's blending stumps, but I don't want to use a blending stump for this because I really want you to respond to the pressure. And a blending stump can kind of make everything kind of the same value. I'm going to go back to the beginning again, and I'm going to put medium pressure on it. I'm not ever doing strong pressure because if I do, it might dig into the paper and get real shiny, and then I can't put value on top of it because it's too shiny. So I'm going to go ahead and make little circles. It's about, I guess my stroke is about an inch. Here I'm building up the value. It's getting darker and darker, but I need to overlap to kind of smooth that blend in. And we don't want to get stripes. We want to imagine a shadow. So here's your blending. I'm going to go over really strong. Still using medium pressure. I don't think I'm ever really using hard pressure, but I am pressing down quite a bit. So we've done value scales before, and this is kind of a blended value scale. So you can see it just blends very smoothly. If it doesn't, you're going to go in between where there seems to be like kind of a line, and you'll go in between that area and kind of just color over the line, either with a lot of pressure like over here, or just the very lightest pressure, but you don't want that sense of lines. So with that, we're going to go and look at this sphere, and we're going to shade the sphere. So you're going to take your circle. So right now it's just a circle. It isn't a sphere at all. We're going to make the illusion of 3D and the illusion of a sphere. This is also not the end of a cylinder. So it is rounded. We're going to go ahead and add this little line back here. It's like a little horizon line, just to kind of remind us that this is going to look like a ball that's sitting on a table. Okay? Now, the reason we can see this ball at all is because, of course, there's light. and the light source looks like it's kind of coming from about right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to label this light source. And when you have a light source, typically the light goes in all directions. But when it is coming from one side, this side will be lighter, and as it goes around the curve of your imagined ball, then this side is going to be in shadow, and sure enough, right here in this kind of shape, it's much more shaded. There's also this cast shadow. So let's go ahead and label it with the words that we already know. We know the word highlight, and that's where the lightest parts of the picture are. We know the word midtones. That's where all the variety of shadows are. And then here's a shadow right here, which is on the opposite side of your light source. So I'll make a shadow. Down here, there's a shape. It's almost like 2 or 3 shapes there, where it's very right underneath the ball. And this is called a cast shadow. And this right here is a little bit of a lighter part. And this is where the light has bounced off the table and bounced right back up on there. So this is called reflected light. And light can reflect all different ways, but typically when it's a ball on a table, there's a little bit of a light part underneath. It's convenient because it allows you to see all the edges. Now the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of mark in where I think my lightest area is, very light with a feather touch, and I'm going to mark in where I feel like my darkest areas are, kind of down here, and then all this is going to be the midtones. But I don't want these lines to show, and I don't want it to look stripy. I'm going to go right here where I think it's the most shaded, and I'm going to kind of always be coloring it in and shading it in this shape, because I want to see the ball as round. So I want to see like as if the light, which is straight, is having to curve around this ball. Okay, so kind of go here. I'm choking back on my pencil. Now I'm using medium pressure, and I'm overlapping, but I'm not getting too dark. I don't want to try to get it too dark at first because I want to be able to blend. Now here in this whole section, it seems like it's a little lighter, still dark though, so let's go ahead and if there's any place that it seems like I'm getting stripy, or if it's not, I see a more shadow down here, so I'm going to go ahead and go down here a little bit. I'll do the ball first, and then I'll go into the cast shadow. Now the next section to me is the mid-tone, so I'm going to use a light pressure. Again, I'm holding the pencil way back here, and I'm kind of flicking it back and forth almost. That allows me to go pretty fast. Can you see the scratch marks and the marks? We want to get rid of those. And now I'm going to go here near the top, and I'm going to just do a feather touch, being careful to only make a couple of places the highlights. Now I'm going to go kind of across the form. I'm going to make sure that there's no streaks, which there are kind of streaks, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm making little ovals like this, and I would say between a light and a medium touch. We want to build up quite a bit of value here. This is just a regular pencil, no special pencils. We're not using an ebony pencil or a number 6 pencil. We're just simply using a regular old pencil to do our shading. I'm going to turn the paper so it doesn't seem like I'm going straight across. I want to kind of curve my shadow. Imagine like almost a little crescent moon. I'm going to go ahead and speed this up. You're just going to have to layer, layer, layer. In order, now everything's kind of smoothing out, but I'm still feeling like I need a darker shadow here. So I'm going to go ahead over it again. There's really not any shortcuts to this. I'm using a little more pressure, and slowly my value is starting to build up. But of course I don't want like it to look like a puzzle piece. I want it to be blended, so I'm going to go ahead and darken everything around it until it's very well blended. I'm certainly using a little more pressure because I really want to get that area dark. We're going to get a little bit in the middle. It seems a little darker, so I just keep looking at my reference, and I keep looking at where I feel like it's darker, but I keep also trying to make sure it's shaded in a curved way. Now you can see that there's no black line here, and there's a white line, and there's just, this is a little bit darker and this is a little bit lighter. So I'm going to go ahead and color the outside just slightly. It's a little bit darker. It's kind of behind it. And I'm going to erase this line. And remember, we talked about implied line. Our mind will complete that shape for us. Also, I feel like I've been a little bit messy in my shading, so I'm going to kind of clean that up. But I don't want to get the sense that there's an outline at all, but I would like the line here to be crisp. So I made it a little more crisp. So I pretty much shaded everything the way I wanted it. Now I'm going to go into the cast shadow, which is very, very dark right here, and a little bit crisp, not real crisp, but it gets really faded out here, and it almost looks like a rainbow back here. So let's go ahead and go to that. Oops, hold on. I'm going to use more value. More pressure. And then I'm going to make sure that I start layering so it looks very like a smooth transition, and then it'll just get lighter and lighter. I don't want this line to show in the end, so I can even kind of erase it, trying to remember how it was. Won't be too hard. It was an oval, so it'll be easy for our mind to complete. And then you're just going to use a feather touch as you create a softer and softer edge. really strong drawings always have soft and hard edges. So we want to like really use our blending skills that we just learned to create these soft edges. So now you have pretty much a shaded sphere. You have a light source. You have highlights and an implied line. You have midtones, and you have a darker area, which is a shadow, as well as a cast shadow. And that is how you create a shaded sphere.